In a surprising diplomatic turn, US President Donald Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have voiced optimism about reaching a trade deal, signaling a softening of rhetoric after months of friction over tariffs and India's continued imports of Russian oil. The shift comes after reports that Trump asked the European Union to impose 100% tariffs on India and China over their Russian oil purchases, a move aimed at isolating Moscow economically and pressuring it to end the war in Ukraine. This illustrates Washington's broader strategy of targeting countries seen as enabling Russia's war machine through continued energy trade. During a public exchange, Modi expressed confidence that negotiations with Washington would help unlock what he called the limitless potential of the India-US partnership. He confirmed that both leaders would speak again in the coming weeks. Modi's response followed Trump's post on his social media platform, Truth Social, where the US president described Modi as a good friend and emphasized there was no difficulty in reaching a successful trade conclusion for both of our great countries. Relations between New Delhi and Washington have been strained in recent months. In August 2024, the US imposed an additional 25% tariff on Indian imports, citing India's large-scale purchases of discounted Russian crude oil. This raised the total US duties on some Indian goods to as high as 50%. Among the steepest levies imposed on any of Washington's trading partners. For context, US-India bilateral trade reached nearly $128 billion in 2023, making India one of America's top 10 trading partners. The new tariffs marked a significant blow to that relationship. The souring of ties was further compounded when Modi appeared on stage alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China. The optics of Modi aligning with Beijing and Moscow angered Trump, who publicly criticized India's trade relationship with the US as a totally one-sided disaster. Trump also claimed that India had previously offered to cut tariffs to zero, but was getting late in fulfilling that promise. While he did not specify when this offer was made, Indian officials refrained from responding directly, choosing instead to maintain diplomatic ambiguity. Yet beneath this optimism, significant sticking points remain. Chief among them is India's continued reliance on Russian crude oil, which New Delhi frames as an issue of national interest. India, the world's third largest oil importer, consuming over 4.6 million barrels per day, has been one of the biggest buyers of discounted Russian crude since the Ukraine war began in 2022. Officials in New Delhi insist that cheap Russian oil is critical to managing domestic inflation and ensuring energy security for its 1.4 billion citizens. During the SCO summit, Modi described India's partnership with Moscow as special and privileged, signaling no intent to reduce oil purchases despite US pressure. Another flashpoint in trade negotiations is agriculture. Washington has repeatedly demanded that New Delhi open its agricultural and dairy sectors to US exports. India has resisted, arguing that such concessions would devastate its over 120 million smallholder farmers, many of whom already struggle under poverty and debt. According to analysts, this remains one of the biggest barriers to any comprehensive trade deal. India's growing global profile, as a counterweight to China, a member of BRICS and a key US partner in the Indo-Pacific strategy, gives Modi leverage to push back against Washington's demands. For now, the trade talks remain in flux. On one hand, the warm public rhetoric between Trump and Modi signals a willingness to reset relations. On the other, the realities of tariffs, Russian oil, and agricultural access present hurdles that will test both sides' political will. The coming weeks of negotiations will determine whether the US and India can move past these disputes and unlock the limitless potential their leaders continue to speak of.